All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Full Package RC. We're here with the usual crew, and in case you're a new listener and don't know who that is, that would be Mr. Mike Sobey,
Hey guys.
Aaron Heister,
Hey, what's going on?
and myself, Bob Heister. So we're just here to discuss anything and everything that is RC. And tonight we have a pretty cool guest with us, Zack Tempesco, who is a local airport to me anyway. He's the airport director for the Reading Airport. He is a hobbyist in its full sense. He's been flying. We'll get more information here, but he's been flying for years. And he's also the president of my local flying club. So I got to be a little nice to him, or he'll find a way to boot me out of the club, and then I won't have a place to fly. Welcome, Zack. We welcome you to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and being here with us.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, don't think it's till the end because you really don't know what you signed up for just yet.
Oh, yeah. You'll be begging to get off the show and cutting it short. And halfway through, I'll have to play some music. Technical difficulties. So I guess before we dive into it, do we want to do a quick 30-second hop and see if anything's new with you guys, or is there anything new you'd want to discuss?
Yeah, I've been on a bit of a hiatus here. Got myself pretty burned out the last half of the year here, and really started up some. I didn't start it up, but some drama started up in our flying club, and I'm just I've had enough of RC for a little while, so taking a little hiatus from the RC helicopter stuff, anyways. And gonna still, mess around with the crawlers and things like that. I got my basher trucks and stuff when I get time, but it's a really, really busy time of the year for me right now anyways. And with winter coming through, there's not gonna be much flying, so it's perfect time to get a little bit of a break in.
So now's the time for everybody. Get on Marketplace, look up Mike Sobey, and get those deals. They are going.
Yeah, there's not many left. I'm down to one nitro left.
Yeah, I saw you were blowing through the stuff pretty quick.
Yeah.
Is that the old Kerry Brooks machine?
No, I'm keeping my Nitron 90. I've had that. That's probably the longest I've owned a heli in quite a while.
Oh, I thought you meant you had one left to sell yet.
Oh, no. I think I'm sold out. I'm happy with what I got left. For now, and we'll see. I don't want to totally wipe myself out in case I get the urge to fly, But I also don't want to take a hiatus and come back with a bunch of stuff that's obsolete because this hobby's a little bit crazy with that stuff right now.
Right.
It's hard to tell, what you'll have parts for, or what's going to be on the chopping block. Figure I can get what I can out of it for now, and then just get a fresh start when I'm ready.
Nice. That's good, and have some new fresh machines.
The Goblin Nitro, I was a little hesitant on listing it for sale because he warned me it had a lot of flights on it, and he wasn't lying. It's got some stuff on it that's pretty worn, and I just was kind of on the fence about listing it for sale because I don't want it to go to somebody and them not realizing what they're buying, And first I thought, well, $300 for a $1,000 airframe, people should know that it's not a shelf queen.
Yeah.
And I also put in the comments that it was the airframe, and it's been rode hard, but I've also had people messaging me asking me what motor comes with it and what servos come with it, and I'm like, no, for $300, none. Read the listing. So I got a little frustrated and I actually just marked it as pending.
Nice.
And just gonna let it sit there for a little bit. So
yeah, you figure it out. Just wait till Kerry buys it back. I saw he was saying about that anyway.
Yeah, I doubt it. He's got some new ones to play with now.
Cool. What about you, Aaron? What about your drift cars? What's built new?
Nothing built new. So this is actually the time of year I'm doing a lot more RC drifting. We have a couple local, and when I say local, within like 2-ish hours. So this is about that time of year we're going to start doing more RC drifting. We are probably going to pack the cars away for the real drift cars away for the year. Already breaking too much at the end of the season and kind of just want a stress-free season. So going to put the real ones away for now and break the RC drift cars out and have a ton of fun. And I've been getting my little M2 out. I actually charged batteries up last week for it, and just haven't been able to get out and fly. But I'm hoping one of these next mornings to go out and fly something. Now that it's actually nice out in the morning, it's perfect. So when I work third shift now, I can come home, have a beautiful morning to fly, and I have a nice little field down the street from my house. So that's that's always nice.
And just when you got your Guibo fixed in the BMW.
Yeah, there's the BMW is broken. The main drift car, my SC, that was broken. So just like the RC stuff, with helicopters, with RC cars, planes, everything is always breaking. Unfortunately, it's just on a little bit more expensive scale with
Oh
the
yeah.
car. So that's why we're packing that away for now. I'm breaking out the RC helis and RC cars. So this is a good time of year.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, not much new
We
for
always
me.
talked about, real quick, Bob. We always talked about there being like a limit of flyable helis and stuff. I think that goes into the car hobby too. Like once you have so many working, or if you have one other working, the other one's got to break because it's just against
Oh, you,
the
yeah.
hobby gods to have everything working at the same time. You know.
Oh
You
yeah.
hit the nail exactly on the head. It's whenever me and my friend who were doing this team together, we can never have our stuff running together, and it's typical. You
Right.
go to a fun fly with a friend, your heli's not starting, and your friend is out flying. It's always that exact scenario, and that's just the story of, it's not a good field day or good day at the track without a bunch breaking. So.
Well, yeah, as far as for me, I don't really have anything new going on. I still have a couple helis I need to get out to the field and fly, but every time I try to get out there, something seems to keep getting in my way for some reason. But just tonight I got home, had a package waiting for me from Super G Drift. So I have another S13 body that I want to do as a clean street car, do a little experimenting here with my one Yokomo car, set it up, and we're going to try to do something a little fancier, a little more street machine. But that's about it for me. It's that, like you said, Aaron, that's at that time of year. We're back to the RC thing, or the RC drifting thing.
Yep.
Haven't been getting outside as much. It's getting too cold. The older I'm getting, I don't want to be outside in the cold.
This was always the amazing time of year I loved. Used to be a local indoor place, and I'm not sure if you had ever made it out there, Zach. Do you remember they used to fly over at Burke's Gymnastics? It was mainly helicopters, but some guys would take like planes over, little like ultra micros. It was a really, really fun area, and for years and years and years, guys would go fly there in the morning over the winter. Similar like the ultra micro, little like Piper Cubs, just the little foamy stuff.
Yeah, on Sunday
And
mornings.
that would, yeah, Sunday morning at Burke's Gymnastics. I guess
Yep.
you can cut the name if need. But awesome. That was like my favorite time of year because there would be a group of probably 15 to 20 of us. Different people every weekend, and you'd go fly together, and that was like the most fun for many, many years.
Yeah, we had a good time with
So
that.
yeah, indoor winter flying. I wish there was more places that brought that back. Because that was like my favorite thing was indoor flying for some reason.
Cool.
Yeah, the only place I know that still does that is up. I think someone just mentioned they do that up at Blue Mountain Academy. But
Yep.
what club is that? Is that Tri County Wing
That's the
Snappers?
Tri-County Wing Snappers, yeah. So they do some stuff there at the Blue Mountain Academy indoors. I think they charge on top of their club, they charge a $10-15 fee or something like that, to do some Sunday
They're
flying.
doing it. I was gonna say they're doing it a few times a year. I feel like, or like after the new year they start. I think.
Yeah, no, I think they do like once a month in the cold months, maybe twice a month, but I'm not really sure because I know they're very limited as to what they can get that little gymnasium area. But in our area, which is, if you're not familiar, I'm from eastern Pennsylvania, a little outside Philadelphia, but in our area, and I know Zack is located near me, as well as Aaron, that's about it for indoor. And just not a lot of flying going on here in the wintertime. No good places to go. Maybe we should talk to the farmer at our field and put up a nice big building and put some heat in there. And what do you think? Think that's doable, Zack?
I wonder if we can do that at the airport. I'll have to think about it. I have to think about it
Ooh.
for the hangars.
I didn't even think
Ooh,
about
that would be
that.
awesome.
That'd be pretty
Might need
kick
like
ass.
I might need like a sponsored event though to do it, but we'll see.
A sponsored. There you go. Full package can sponsor it. We'll
Sweet.
we'll throw them $50 and say that's good, right? Is that good enough?
Yeah, it might be.
Hey, why not? We went to Urcha. We sponsored their They're I don't know, what was it called, Mike? Do you remember that the area for like out of area pilots and all that stuff, like the sort of a pit area? I can't remember what it was called.
What they call it, the heli hangar, I think it was.
Yeah, they just called it the heli hangar. That's it. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, just a heads up, my internet's getting a little wonky here. I might have to go reboot it. So if I drop out for a second, I'll be
Okay.
back.
I know you dropped out a little bit earlier when you were talking a bit, but I just kind of kept it going, so we're good.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I might go try to reset my router.
So if
All
we
good.
lose Mike, we'll probably just add some other ad lib stuff in there,
Yeah.
some gibberish, whatever. It'll all be
Nobody
the
will
same.
know.
It'll be the same thing anyway. Yeah, nobody will recognize the difference. We'll put like Elmo in there or something.
No, that's Dave.
So, Zach, how long? Getting into the RC aspect of it, how long have you been in the RC flying or the RC hobby at all?
Yeah, so you're making me think a little bit, but I have been flying RC for like probably 25 years. I started flying when I was like between 12 and 14 years old, like would go over to 222 Flying Club. So that's kind of a fun thing. The club that I'm president of now, when I was a kid, I would see the airplanes flying over. I kind of hear them hear the airplanes bouncing off the houses, the sound. And that was my cue to get on my bike and ride over there so that I could watch.
Okay.
So I like ride down the farm lane to get over there, like between the farm fields and over to the club. And when I get over there, obviously that's what I wanted to do. And my parents, I'd show them the model that I wanted to get, Tower Hobbies magazine, I think at the time, that was big. And of course they didn't want to buy me the plane because I knew what was going to happen. I was going to crash it. Right. So eventually I talked him into it and then got, a little, I think it was like the Tower Hobbies 40 trainer and would take it. I would actually like hook a cart to the back of my bike and put it on there with the starter box and go over and park it next to everybody else and try to fly and show my skills at the time. But yeah, of course, everyone crashes. So I did and kept going. But ever since then, it's been a great hobby. I love it.
So
Something
you're saying
that
you haven't
can
crashed
keep doing
since
your
then?
whole life. Say again?
You haven't crashed since then?
No, that's not what I meant. But you're always crashing, right? Like you're not going to build something and not assume that you're not going to crash it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what?
But it was always fun.
You only do airplanes? Is that all you do?
Well, I have a story about that, Bob. I tried to get into helicopters in college, and I think I got a little overzealous. The first helicopter I bought was like right when brushless started coming out, and I got like a 24-inch, electric helicopter, thinking like, oh, I'm going to learn on this, right? And of course, it was raining outside, and I decided to fire it up in the living room, and that didn't end well.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what heli it was?
It was a knockoff of a Blade 400.
Okay.
Kind of thing, it was kind of like that size. Remember those?
Yep.
Blade units. But honestly, I started thinking I was going to get into RC helicopters because I actually thought I was going to be a helicopter pilot. It was there was a short time where I really thought that's what my career path was going to be. There was a company called Silver State Helicopters, and if any of the listeners know what that is, they had these facilities across the whole country, and the gig was you could pay them $70,000, and they would give you all of your ratings up to flight instructor, and you would get a full-time job afterward. You were done. And like 2 or 3 weeks after, I decided I couldn't afford it because I already had so many school loans already taken out. They filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy, so that was probably the best decision I ever made.
Oh, geez.
Right?
Yeah.
So I got really into helicopters during that time, and then, after a couple short stints and crashes, I went back to airplanes because that's what I knew.
I gotta point out something.
Uh-oh.
And Zach, this isn't a dig at you at all, but I think it's funny that I can tell you're an airplane guy because you said the size of the helicopter you got in inches.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
a 24-inch helicopter.
well, it was. I think that's an. I don't even know if that's what it said on the package. I just remember it being a couple feet long, right?
Right.
Um,
I
That's
just
right.
thought
That
that
would be
was
about the
funny.
size of like a 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is funny. So that's interesting. So like at a young age, and like I'm always curious. And reason I ask this is because I've flown my whole life, but I am terrified of flying in real life, flying anything. So from a young age, did the RC flying get you more intrigued with the real stuff, or did the RC always that was your main priority, or was the end goal always to be involved in flying in some way
I think
with the real stuff?
I always wanted to be a pilot, but RC was always like I always just thought it was so cool. Like go over and watch the guys fly, and there was a lot of camaraderie. And I think the hobby's changed a lot, guys. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, right? I mean, back then every Saturday and Sunday you'd go over there, and there were 10 cars there. But you could go over and do that. And that was sort of like my fill in, right? Because I couldn't do it yet. Even the RC, like I said, my parents still, it was expensive to buy something and crash it right away. But, my uncles were kind of into flying. I remember my one uncle was into RC. He's the one that sort of helped me um, build the model in the beginning. And he actually did have a helicopter. When you're talking about that, he had a helicopter. It was a gas helicopter. I don't remember exactly how big, but I remember him trying to fly it behind his house, and like I was like, that looks like the hardest thing in the world. And I think that's why I might have gravitated towards airplanes in the beginning. But it was back then, real early on, gas helicopters I think were even more difficult, right? Like I don't know the history, but I can't imagine today's day and age versus then
Yeah, you wanna go
with all of
electric all
the.
the way. Gas and nitro helicopters aren't the way to go, right, Mike?
Oh, listen to this guy. Well, gas, I agree with you for sure, but nitro is the only way to go.
No, it's not.
It's got
Anyway.
soul.
Anyway, sorry, Zach. That's an
No,
ongoing
I
thing
mean I kind of agree
ongoing
with you
thing with
with
us is electric versus
even with
nitro.
airplanes. Yeah, yeah, but I mean I think I mean so I started with RC, and then I actually got my pilot's license when I was 17. So
Oh, wow.
soloed when I was 16, got my pilot's license when I was 17. But model or aircraft, RC aircraft have always been something that you can keep doing, and it's a little bit more accessible. I mean, as expensive as the hobby is, it's a lot more accessible than real airplanes. So
Right, right.
Cheaper too.
And do you still get into? Because I know at one point, didn't you used to dabble with drones, correct?
yeah, I had a 333 exemption. So people that maybe in the industry might remember that. That was like when the FAA first came out with, if you wanted a business, you had to have this exemption, right? And I started a business in 2014 with I bought it from you, Bob, at your shop. It was
Okay.
that Blade QX 400, I want to say.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was Blade's
Yep.
competition to like the Phantom. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, it's a 350. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
350 like QX3.
yeah. Yeah, I was trying to remember what the original ones were because I had one of the original ones as well. I couldn't remember. It's
It
too
still
long ago.
flies. It still flies.
Really?
But
Nice.
yeah, I still have it. It's not like it's not reliable, but it's still. Uh, uh, but yeah, I started a business in 2014 with like a GoPro 3 on one of those. Ended up buying like a little gimbal for it, and I was taking pictures of horse farms and people's houses for realtors, and it was really difficult because I'd go out and do it, and every once in a while I'd bump into somebody else that was doing it, and you'd start talking to them about, do you have did you go through the exemption process? Because the exemption process took like a year for me to complete, right? I mean, and I had insurance for the drone. I think I was paying $1,500 a year for the insurance because they were insuring it like a real aircraft.
Did
You
that
know,
just protect you if you like punched it through someone's window or hit someone's
yeah,
roof and damaged shingles or okay?
Yeah. So I think, so the insurance agent didn't really know. It was so early that they didn't really know what to do with it, right? So they insured it like a real airplane. Um, Basically, it was like aircraft liability insurance, and I was doing that, and it was fun. But I think eventually people, it was so new that people didn't want to really give you what your time's worth, right? So
Yeah.
you'd go out and do a job, and then I think I had a couple jobs in a row where I would do the job, take the pictures, do all the editing, send them the pictures, and then they might not like the shot, or they were like, "Hey, I like this one, but I was really looking for this or that." And then you have to go out and do it again. And as much as I wanted to like help the customer, I was like, "Hey, you're only paying me like a couple $100 to come do this. It's not really built into the price to come out and do it a second time, right?"
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah,
that was
I
the end.
remember early on with that, you would, because we would see you often enough at the shop, and I remember early on, it was kind of nice getting that little bit of education on a lot of that, because that was in that time where I think that was before the FAA got involved, where anything over half a pound you had to register, and it was kind of a weird, unless you did a lot of research, nobody knew about those 333 forms. Nobody knew, it was like kind of the wild wild west of the hobby at that point.
Yes,
So I
from the business
remember,
standpoint. Yes.
yeah. I mean, you were one of the first people I remember that I had seen actually make something out of it, other than just, hey, I'm going to take my Phantom up and you can look at your roof. I had a buddy doing that back in probably 2014, 2015. I guess it was around that time, where he would just fly a Phantom around for customers. It was kind of all under the table. I mean, he was a young kid, and he would just do like quick roof inspections and show them for like farmers and stuff like that, and spend 5 or 10 minutes. And obviously at that time, that wasn't a legitimate way to go about it. So, but that was before all the restrictions, before, so that was definitely interesting to see kind of what you made of that.
Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot. I wouldn't change it. I mean, I changed that business a couple times, as you do with small businesses, but I think now I do have the 107 certificate now. I just keep it up. Um, and I'm also a drone pro for the FAA Fast Team, as part of aviation outreach and those types of things.
So
So you still actively fly? You still actively fly drones a lot then?
No, well, I have the 107 just to make sure I keep it up, and then it wasn't the 107 was way easier to get. I mean, because I was already a pilot, so you just kind of apply for it, take the test, and you know do the paperwork, and you get it. But the drone, every once in a while, I still take that QX3 out. I've done a couple shots. You might see on like the 222 Flying Club Facebook page, just to get like a couple little aerials, because I didn't have another drone that I haven't bought one of the newer ones, since I'm not using it that often. But drone, I like drones. They're fun, but as you guys know, I mean, they're very simple to fly, so it's not as rewarding as something a little faster, a little more fun.
Yes. And dealing, so I guess kind of rolling into the next question. Sorry, last question, then I'll back off. Then I'll give you guys the reins. Kind of dealing with like that drone. I don't want to call it an issue, but being you work at the Reading Airport, do you ever get people that you see firsthand trying to do dumb stuff with drones? Because you always read about it. You always read about, some guy in New York City was trying to fly and, spy on someone, or fly within 5 miles of an airport, or,
Yeah,
just in general dumb stuff. Do you get that in like sort of this area?
not as much anymore. So I feel like there was a time, and trying to think of the years when this was, but and you guys might remember, like where you were seeing drones is probably right when FAA started really cracking down, when you'd see the video of like drone on approach in Las Vegas underneath the like flying over the Frontier jet. You remember that one?
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
right. So like that time frame was, we were having issues, right? Like you would have a drone like randomly flying over by the pagoda, or on the, which that's kind of out of the airspace now, but in the city, or you'd have a report of one by a pilot now and then, and we'd have to kind of go try to find that person and see if we could at least clear the area for safety. But, DJI started putting those restrictions on drones where it just wouldn't let you take off in the airspace, which
Yeah.
I think they have taken that off now. But ever since they put that on, we really haven't had a problem, right? Because you couldn't even let the drone get off the ground if it was within a mile, I think, of the airport without a code for it.
So why
And
do you
then
think they would have taken that off? If that was such a good safety feature, why would they have actually taken something like that off?
Yeah, I think I heard something to the effect of where they were advocating or lobbying for they had to disable that function because of, something with, they were concerned about liability or complaints or something like that. There's still legally, you're still not allowed to, right? But the drone doesn't actually limit it, that I'm aware of. So
I could
we
see
haven't.
them like being concerned of like if they have it on there and somebody gets past it somehow, then they could be sued, like a liability lawsuit or something, like you're saying.
Yeah,
Saying,
yeah,
"Oh, my drone let me go over there."
yeah. I read it was a very quick thing that I had read. It was a couple years ago. I remember sending it out. I actually sent it to our local law enforcement and whatnot to let them know, and the air traffic control tower, just to make sure they were aware that they were starting to sell these things that they're supposed to not be as restricted. Because I thought maybe we'd have a spike in incidents, but honestly, we haven't. I haven't seen too many issues where um, we have to stop operations or anything. We do have a full plan, though. I mean, it was a very big deal, and we still are pretty concerned about drones, like during events. So, like when we have World War II weekend or something like that, we always put signs up during events, and we tell them like, hey, no drone activity during this event, just to make sure that we're not interfering with air traffic.
Now, when you're at the airport, if somebody puts within a certain area and they take a drone up or an RC plane, like how far away from the airport can you actually see that stuff, like through radar?
A radar might pick it up, depending on the size, but typically what'll happen is it'll have to be like a visual line of sight. So usually like a pilot will report it, like, "Hey, there's drone activity in this area, and I'm seeing something," and then the whole like if one person, let's say they saw it at 9 o'clock in the morning, the entire day the tower will then be like, "Hey, you're in an area where someone reported this," and they'll be reporting that to every airplane that flies kind of towards us,
So they
just in
just do
case.
like a safety thing over like what, like 24 hours from the initial report?
Probably for at least 8 hours, they're going to do
Okay.
it. It's sort of dependent on how much of a threat they think it is, or until someone clears it, right? So if I would go out as the airport operator, or another pilot would go over and check it out for them, if they clear it enough to where they feel comfortable, they'll stop reporting it.
Okay. So if you find the
Interesting.
person, say, stop being a dumbass and flying in the way, and then you could say it was cleared.
Yeah, yeah, right. I mean, obviously, if it's unauthorized, most of the time, what we get now though is I think the FAA has, to be honest, done a pretty good job of giving 107 pilots the tools to make sure that they're reporting it properly, and because of that, it's quick. The approvals are quick enough now that most people are reporting, and it's not a big deal.
Okay.
So around our airport, it's about 1 mile, and most of the areas where, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are, but the controlled airspace airports have a grid map for their airport within the 5 nautical miles for the controlled airspace, and each grid has a different altitude in which the tower has decided what height is safe for drone activity. So obviously on the approaches of all the runways, that's absolutely zero, and usually about within 1 mile of the airport, most of the grids are labeled zero, right? As you go out from that 1 mile or kind of outside the approach corridors, they'll actually so at our airport, it goes to 200 feet at the surrounding grids, let's say at 2 miles, right? And eventually, even at 3 and 4 miles away within the 5 miles, they have it labeled as 400 feet. So they're okay with you going up to 400 feet as long as you're within that grid. So that's part of the FAA's LANC system, which I believe it's spelled it's an acronym, but it's LAANC.
Okay. That's pretty interesting how it all, I mean, like Aaron said, most of what I had learned early on in the drone things was from you when you came in, because you were really into it. And I mean, that's how we get from a lot of our customers when they're really in depth in a hobby. I ask a lot of questions and I can learn, from people who are really educating themselves on a very specific, area of the hobby, which is kind of cool. You have somebody who has all those answers.
Right.
So
I try to stay up as much as I can.
So speaking of like being educated and stuff, how often, like, do you often deal with, like, I don't know if it would be FAA people or law enforcement people that seem just like totally uneducated on the drone stuff when you're trying to explain, like, say you have a situation and you're saying, hey, over in this area there's drone activity, and because the FAA rolled in like our planes and helicopters, all those drones. So
Right.
does that seem to be like an issue as far as like people being educated on what a drone actually is?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't really get phone calls like say someone's flying a model airplane at a park. Like, I don't really get any phone calls that it's a problem from law enforcement. For a long time, not recently, but for a long time, we were getting phone calls at the airport all the time with people that were actually concerned because, hey, I live within 5 miles and I want to make sure I can fly like in my backyard, right?
Oh, okay.
For many years before the airport really, or before the FAA, I'm sorry, before the FAA established the like true guidelines that they have now, it was a little bit subjective, right? I would usually tell people, hey, as long as you're below the tree line, like I don't really care, right? No airplanes are going to be flying that low. Now the answer really is, hey, no. If you want to fly recreationally, I think the answer is no within 5 nautical miles. Whether or not people are doing it or not, sometimes it's difficult for us to know that.
Mhm.
But if someone calls me, there's really not it's not a subjective answer anymore. If you want to fly within 5 nautical miles of an airport, you're supposed to have either the designated flying site or be a 107 operator.
Wow. It's
Interesting.
amazing how like strict it is now, because I remember, oh my God, what was it, maybe 2013, 2014, when I was much younger, we went over and did a demo for the hobby shop at the Reading Airport. I forget what exactly it was for. And I flew, it was a T-Rex 500, so not a massive helicopter. But I remember they allowed me to take off. Wasn't on the main runway, it was in one of the back grass fields where there's like fencing, and they just
Nah,
said,
yeah, you were off to the end of the
don't.
one of the runway, I thought, where they were doing like a car show and like some other kind of show. I forget what it was all combined.
I just remember it was one of the closest I had flown to some crowds. And I remember thinking, wow, like I can't believe we actually got permission to do this. And there was an airport official out there standing with me, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I had to get radioed to like permission to take off. That was cool. He radioed over like,
Mhm.
hey, he's taking off. Is he good? But it's amazing to think like we just kind of set that up loosely through the shop. And now it sounds like, you would only be able to do some sort of demonstration if you held like that 107. Is that correct?
That's correct. Other than, so like I have a 107. So if we wanted to do that again, I could ask for the approval and you could still be the pilot.
Oh, okay. So I personally wouldn't need it. I would just need someone to vouch basically for
I
me.
would be, well, I would be the pilot in command, if you will. You'd be the operator and I would be observing you.
Okay.
That
All
makes
right.
Yeah,
sense.
okay.
So that actually
Interesting.
brings me to something I had written down I was going to ask about. Recently, 2 weeks ago, you guys had that big event every year. What is it, like cars and aviation, or I forget what
Wings
is
and
actually.
wheels.
What's that?
Airs and autos?
Okay. Yeah, because they have, I mean,
Yep.
it's like a crazy ass car show, at the airport
Oh,
with,
that's a different one. Yeah.
uh,
That's Downshift Nation. They do that in the spring.
what was the one just a couple weeks ago?
That was Airs and Autos. That was run by our airport, and that was like more of like a traditional car show, like classics and muscle
Okay.
cars and hot rods, and we had airplanes there.
Because I came there, there's a restaurant attached to the airport. We came to eat unknowingly when this was going on, and we're pulling up, and there's like, there's a couple Lambos sitting out front, and there was all the hot boy cars, and I was even laughing about it. Like some of them, there was some really nice cars, a lot of money spent on them and stuff, and I thought it was kind of neat. But
That was Downshift Nation.
my
I don't
question
know
is,
when that was, but go ahead.
what about
Yep.
incorporating, like when you're doing these different events, like a flying thing into them, or even at that car, the classic car show kind of thing? Having like a demonstration, like you said, obviously, I'm thinking of, Aaron being the pilot to do something like that, but in front of people who are there showing off their toys and with aviation kind of mixed, having some guys come in, do some stunt flying with planes, maybe something with the helicopters, and do like a model aviation kind of thing with it as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would be cool. I'd have to check. So when we start talking about like doing aerobatics, knowing the FAA, they may consider that almost like an aerobatic demonstration. So I might need to actually have like a little restricted area of airspace for that.
Okay.
But I could, if I was going to do it the right way, I would probably go to the Flight Standards District Office, or FSDO, and talk that through with them before I'd submit it. We do a demonstration typically at some of the aviation oriented like career events, but the guy that I have that comes in and does it, he uses a tethered drone. So I don't know if you've ever seen one of those.
No, I don't know what that is.
So they have these tethered drones that they use for emergency services, right? So he has a business out of Lehigh Valley, Allentown, Pennsylvania, and like if the news calls him or maybe the police need his help because he has the license and he can go out and file really quick. He has a drone that has it has like a steel tether attached to it, almost like a utility belt on his, that he's wearing. And when he takes off, it's kind of like almost like like a dog leash that like retracts, right? So as it takes off, it just goes straight up above him and it's tethered to him. So if it starts to do a flyaway, it's not going anywhere because he can pull it down.
Oh wow,
So it
that's
won't go
Interesting.
anywhere.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Huh.
And his even has like it has a lighted beacon on it, like a strobe light that flashes, so you can see it
So
at
what
night. Like I think it's certified for night operations.
what would be the purpose of something like that? Because I would think that would really limit you to any kind of flying.
Well, again, it would be so like if as an emergency service coordinator, you might want to put a drone up over your scene so that you can see what's going on, or like the roof of a building or something like that. But it just adds that level of safety so the drone doesn't create a safety hazard.
So you're more or less going straight up and not really straying much from there. You're going up to put a bird's eye view of what's going on.
Yes, that particular drone you're not going to be maneuvering it a lot.
Okay.
It's going to be sort of like either straight up or you're just kind of going in a cone shape probably around your location.
Interesting. Hey, learn something new every day.
That's it, Aaron. I'm bringing a tether to Urcha next year. We're gonna do hurricanes tethered to your helicopter.
Oh my god, that would be. I'll borrow one of my dad's 700s and
Yeah.
put it into
No,
some
no. You
mock
leave.
Jesus speed hurricanes.
If it goes bad, we'll just reel it in.
Yeah, you're gonna leave
Oh
my
my
stuff
God.
out of this, Aaron. Use your own stuff.
I'm thinking with a 700, I'm gonna take flight. I'm only like $1.45, $1.50. That's gonna
yeah, you just
that's
carry
gonna
yourself
yank me.
around. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't think that would be. I don't think that would be quite safe at all. Urcha officials may be a little bit pissed at us.
Not to mention.
So on a serious note,
wait, we do serious?
So
since when do we do serious?
No. Well, this episode's been pretty serious.
It actually
this is very
has.
informational. I'm liking it.
It is.
So Zach, I'm a club president for my local club as well, and we got a FRIA and all that, and we've always been curious, like, what does that look like from the pilot's side? Like, is is it a no-fly zone for the pilots on whatever like navigation they're using?
No, so it probably depends on, is your FRIA within controlled airspace?
No, we are not in controlled airspace.
Right. So outside of controlled airspace, as long as you're under 400 feet, most pilot, they're not going to even really look for that, because the lowest we're going to fly is 500 feet. That's why you're limited, or RC and drones are limited to 400 feet, because as a pilot in a fixed wing aircraft, that is, I'm limited to 500 feet. I need to be at least 500 feet above the ground, or 1,000 feet if I'm in like a populated area.
Okay.
So with helicopters, there's a slight caveat. You're allowed to do more things. Because you're allowed to, go lower as long as you're away. You have to be 500 feet away from people, places, or things, usually. But the FRIA inside of a controlled airspace, though, usually it'll probably come up as like a little airspace kind of blip when you're looking at a chart, if they think it's a concern. But I kind of doubt that they would even approve a FRIA if it's like on an approach where they're actually concerned about the obstructions.
So we have a club that's local to us. They actually fly out of a private. I don't. Yeah, I guess it would be private, but they have an airport there. They do skydiving and stuff out of, and they have a radio system. Like when the guys coming back to land and pick up more people, like they radio into the actual RC field, which is at the end of their runway. And they have to land so the guy can come in and land. It's the craziest thing that I've ever seen. And apparently they had their FRIA approved to be able to keep doing what they're doing out
Yeah, so if I went into that
which I thought
airport,
was kind of wild.
I mean, if it's a private airport, that's one thing. If it's public use, kind of sounds like it might be if they're doing skydiving. If I was doing a what we call cross country to get there, like you're planning a trip to go to that airport, within the airport's like supplement information, it's going to say, like on our airport, it says trees, deer in the vicinity, and wildlife, birds, and in their case, it probably will say drone activity.
Okay.
They do that. That's something similar that they do at the Tri-County Wing Snappers, where they have the runway lights. It's a runway that is shared with the model aircraft, and if they're flying and a pilot comes over, I guess they have control of the lights somehow, and they can flash the lights a couple of times, and that lets everybody that's flying RC to land and get the hell out of the way. I don't know if you.
Oh, the pilots have control of the lights?
Yeah, I guess
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the pilot.
Yeah,
can,
so pilot
can control the lights.
Control lighting system.
Okay, that's what I've been told. I've never seen it in action, but they said when they're there flying, all of a sudden, if they see the lights flashing, they usually can look around and see a plane coming in somewhere, and then it just gives them a couple minutes to land, get out of the way, so this guy can come in and land, because they do at the field they fly on. I guess they do flight instruction off of there. It's not like it's used heavily, but they do have some full scale aircraft coming in and out of their field.
Right. Yeah, and that's a private field, so there's different rules. But when you're a public use field, it's probably going to be harder to get the FRIA approved. Depending on to be right on the airport, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But I mean, they probably put in certain restrictions, like you said, Mike, where they're going to have to maintain communication, like a full scale aircraft would.
Right. Yeah, I won't even fly there just because I'm like if I crash into an approaching like full scale plane, I would not be able to live with myself. If somebody got hurt because I was flying an airplane. So I avoid that place. Like they always invite us out for fun flies and stuff like that, and I'm just like I don't have any interest. I just it's not worth it for me.
It's weird when you're flying and real stuff is landing behind you. Zach, I don't know if you do you remember far view flyers at all, Zach?
I do, yeah. I used to play golf.
Yeah. That was many years ago.
What about pre-golf? Do you remember? Have you ever flown up there before it was a golf course?
Did I fly there before it was a golf course? I don't think so. I mean, obviously they had the ultralight field, and they had that 9-hole golf course. And then I went up there to watch RC like one time,
Okay.
and then heard all the stories.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I mean,
Aaron.
that
I'm
was-
sorry.
That was where I learned to fly. I mean, that place was, aside from all the other drama and crazy stuff I'm sure you may have heard, it was one of the most beautiful fields around. But the strangest feeling was when you were up flying, there would be ultralights landing quite literally 100, 150 feet, if that, behind us. And it was weird. You know, you would see them coming in for approach. Obviously, a lot of guys wouldn't land. They would still keep flying. But it felt very kind of like at the time unorganized. It was a weird feeling just to be flying and have guys going up, taking off behind you, keep it low, or you know, Farview was an interesting place. Again, I feel like that was like the wild west of flying at that time.
Yeah.
And then
I
when
mean,
it goes
uncontrolled airports are kind of like that already. I mean, we try to maintain communications though, kind of like what Mike was saying before. But yeah,
back even older than that, Aaron, that used to be Tri-County long before the golf course. And yeah, where I learned to fly when I was a kid. So that's telling you it's a long time ago.
We
And
learned to fly at the same place. Wow.
yeah, and when I was be flying there, the owner of the field at one point it was a home built biplane. So you'd just hear this thing throttling up behind you, and you know, he would tell everybody he's going up, but then if you were flying, they just kind of scooted over a little bit in the airspace. He took off the way it was situated, and he was out of there and gone. And it was kind of controlled chaos, but it was interesting, that's for sure. Fun times.
That's crazy.
So
How old are you, Zach?
I'm 38.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, for you to remember it being a golf course, I'm 27, and I don't remember. I've heard all the stories of it being a golf course, but I don't actually remember it being there. So,
Zach's actually 65. He just looks good.
There.
really, okay, that's like everyone's first. Learn to fly there, learn to golf there. That's funny.
It was a hard golf course too.
I was just saying, you're actually 65. You just look good for your age.
Yeah.
So this is going to sound funny, but like when you first started coming to the shop and I first met you, you had worked for Sherwin-Williams. So when you were coming into the shop, you were known, it was Zack. Zack, the Sherwin-Williams guy, because you always came in and usually had your shirt on. So that's how we got to know you. And then somewhere along the line, next thing you know, you were working for the airport and now basically running the place. So how'd you go from selling paint to running an airport?
Well, like I said, when I went to Florida Institute of Technology for aviation management and wanted to be a pilot. Got out of school. Being an airline pilot at the time was not all it was cracked up to be. You were making $20,000 to $25,000 a year on call, living in an apartment with 20 guys to make a living. I didn't want to do that, so I went and worked at Philly International for 2 years. Actually didn't mind that job other than the fact that, didn't really make a lot of money and was living in the city. Like a week before I got married, the SWAT had to like break into the apartment below us because this guy was like threatening people. And I looked at my soon-to-be wife and said, "Yeah, we should probably move." So
nice.
I went to work for Sherwin-Williams to get out of the city. Sold paint for 8 years, and obviously like was sort of pulling my hair out a little bit because I had this degree, had all my pilot's licenses. I was doing flight instruction and was like, I got to get back into aviation somehow. So I got the director of operations position at Reading in 2017 and airport director in 22. So that's
nice.
kind of how it all fell together.
So is that something you knew when you got that first job there, you knew somebody, or was it like an ad on Craigslist saying, "Hey, do you like planes?"
So I was a flight instructor at the airport, and I remember the airport manager at the time coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I heard you have a degree in aviation. We're going to be posting this position. Is this something you'd be interested in?"
Nice.
And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I took a pay cut and all that stuff, but I was like, "Hey, I want to go back to aviation," right? So
yeah, it's something you enjoy and right place. So right place, right time, basically, for what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was involved with safety meetings, right? So FAST team, FAA safety team, and I think I was going to the meetings there, and he was there, and we got to talk. So it's just being involved, I think, with the right organizations.
Nice. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
go
like
with
you
the
said, you took a
Craigslist story. It's better.
Craigslist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just tell
maybe.
everybody there was a listing there. It said somebody come run this shit show. Called him up.
Do you like
Now
planes?
I'm
So
an
do we.
airport nerd. It's weird.
That's pretty good. It's neat to see because when you go to work, when you're going to work, but it's something you enjoy, it doesn't feel as much like you're going to work. So it's something you could,
Yeah.
kind of willing to take a pay cut, and then you sort of hope for the best. But it just makes life a little bit easier where you're not dealing with the bullshit of a job that you hate, and you're just trying to go through the motions to get a paycheck. If
Right.
that makes any sense.
It does. The days go by so fast. It's I mean, I'm dealing with a lot of things. There's a lot of stressors now that we're expanding and doing a lot of things at the airport, but RC still is one of those things that I can kind of take a break from. As much as I want to do real flying, and I do fly still, like full size airplanes, but it's a lot easier to feel. I equate RC flying to fishing for myself, right? And even when I promote the club, that's what I tell people, because it's one of those things where I can go out and I can be by myself, or I could be with other people. Either way, I'm having fun, or I feel more relaxed, right? So
Yeah, it's a de-stressor, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be able to go out, calm yourself, and have some fun. And that's why, like I've always been mixed on our club because, when I go fly, there's there's nobody ever really there when we go. And part of me likes that because I have nobody bugging me, but part of me would like to, socialize with some other guys at times because it's supposed to be fun.
right.
But when you get to some of the bigger clubs, you get guys who always have different views on things, and then they got to create drama. They got to be a pain in the ass, and it just sort of takes that fun away from it. And you know what I'm talking about, Mike, right?
Oh yeah. Running the club is great. Yeah,
Very mellow.
I give you a lot of kudos, Zach, because like running the club is a pain in the ass, in my opinion. And not only that, but you're also working at an airport, and my company that I work for is involved with that whole Pittsburgh modernization thing that they're doing at the airport, building the new terminal and all that stuff. So we're doing a bunch of work there, and I absolutely hate going there. Like everything about that place it gets on my nerves.
Well,
So
that's kind of two different worlds too. You Pittsburgh, Philly, like where I was before, those are CADX airports, and it's extremely compartmentalized. It's kind of interesting to go visit when I go visit again, and like think about where I am now at the regional airport level. We have all the same things, but I do all of them, right? So it's kind of, I think that's what makes it more fun sometimes. Like when I was in Philly, I did one thing, right? I did like security at one point, or cameras, or badging. I did something called River Watch, where we like watched for tall ships on the river next to Philly International, right?
Oh wow.
And now I wear all the hats, right? I do security and snow operations and wildlife management and fueling operations at the FBO and staffing. We even have our own sewer treatment plant that I have to help manage, which, never thought I'd have to do that in my life, but
Sounds like a shitty job.
there's a lot to it. But I never get bored, right? I'm always like learning new stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I made myself laugh. Dad jokes.
Pretty good, Bob.
Yeah.
We almost didn't see that one coming.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So what do you find harder, Zach? Flying a real plane or flying an RC plane? What's your take on that?
I guess I'm gonna say the real plane, which I guess doesn't sounds normal. But it's a little more stressful. You've got to have your head screwed on straight every time you get in the cockpit. I mean, you definitely could get complacent. I've heard guys talk about you want to get to the point where you can get in an airplane and it feels like driving a car. I actually disagree. I think every time you get in, you should be going through your checklist like you're a space shuttle pilot, because that makes you a very proficient, safe pilot. Um, So you have to completely kind of get into that cockpit and be clear-minded and say, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. This is my plan, and not be distracted. Whereas if I go fly RC, you guys know it all depends on the plane I'm flying, but there's certain airplanes where I'm just like, all right, throw this up. I don't care if it crashes. I'm going to just fly. Right. And then there's other planes where like you have one, Bob, the Edge 580. Have you flown that yet?
Sadly, no. I've had this thing a year and I still haven't gotten it completely ready to go. Oh, man.
Well,
I am
have one of
slacking
those,
on this thing.
and I mean, I love flying, and it's a rush, but I'm a little scared to fly it. Right? It's like it's fast. I don't like if you do the wrong thing, you're probably gonna like snap roll it, into the ground. But it's a lot of fun.
See, I like those fast things like that. So I think if I get it set up right, I'll enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely like I think it depends what you want, right? I mean, Mike, you were talking about this earlier, like being in a rut, right? So I'm either going to go out and I want to relax, or I need a little bit of challenge, right? I need a challenge so that I feel intrigued again to want to go do it. So I think that Nitro, Edge 580 that I have, like when I'm feeling that way, I'm like, all right, let's kind of grab this, like grab the bull by the horns kind of thing, and like go out and get it done, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're always on edge to fly the nitro stuff because nitro is more of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But there's some nitro planes that are, and like I have that old nitro Chipmunk, Super Chipmunk. It's a great plane, Super Chipmunk, and it has so much time on it that you barely have to touch the prop and it starts. It runs forever, and it's very docile, and it has a ton of time on it. So, I don't want to crash it because it's sort of like a little puppy for me. Like it's like that dog that you've had your whole life kind of thing. But it's always it feels good to go back to, right? If I'm not feeling confident, I can go back to that airplane.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everybody's got to have their comfy zone. I just always like busting on nitro stuff because that's Mike's thing. He loves his nitro.
Oh.
Don't listen to Bob. He hit his head when he was
Nitro 4-stroke. I think Nitro 4-stroke's where it's at. I'm with Mike.
Yeah, I don't do the nitro plane. I'm not real big in the plane stuff. I have a bunch of not a bunch, but I have a couple big planes like 120cc stuff. Actually, Bob's got a funny story about that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into the gas, like actual gas stuff when it comes to planes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't fly them as much because all the planes I have, it's like moving a couch out of your house to get it to the field, and then moving it back in when you're done. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I need to pick up like a couple smaller planes and stuff to mess around with.
Yeah, now take those big planes and
always have a
transport
trailer.
them a couple 100 miles.
Yeah.
I got a call from Mike one day. Hey, is Lidditz, PA close to you? Yeah, it's not far. Good. There's a plane I want to buy on Marketplace. If I buy it, can you go pick it up for me? Now, Mike's in Ohio, so I picked it up, stored it, and my next trip out, it went out with me.
Right.
And now, did you sell that one though yet? I saw that was on the chopping block too.
No, I pulled it down.
Okay.
I can't sell that thing.
Yeah, it looks like
too much fun.
Looks like a neat plane.
But I warned Bob. I said, you should probably go measure your car." And he goes, "How big is this thing? How big could it be?" And I'm like, "It's pretty big." And he's like, "I'll fold the seats down. It'll be fine." He wouldn't go measure it, and then he finally got to see it in person.
So with all the seats folded down, the rudder was touching my radio up at the front dash, and the hatch barely closed with the nose cone. So, and that's in a Ford Explorer.
That's a little bit big.
It was good. Yeah, it was a bit big. Made for a good story.
Good oh yeah,
I've had that experience before.
Do you have any big stuff like that?
I do have like a 1/3 scale yak.
Nice.
So,
but the way I acquired it was from a club member that was getting out of the hobby and said, "Hey, I don't want my gas plane anymore." And I said, "Okay, I'll come look at it." And he's like, "Well, what size car do you have?" I'm like, "Well, I have a pickup truck." And he's like, "That should work." When I got there, I was like, "Oh, this is big." And I had to I think I had to keep the tailgate down It's like 9 feet long.
Yeah,
And I
I
was
have
like,
a 6.5 foot bed, and I have to strap it in with the tailgate down to go to the field.
hmm hmm there's certain airplanes that are going to be easy to like accessible, and then there's certain ones that so it makes you sometimes you're motivated to do, and sometimes you aren't.
What do you think the future of RC aviation holds? Do you think it's going to stay relatively the same? Do you think what kind of changes do you think could happen in the the next, say, let's say 10 years from now? Where do you think we'd be at?
RC aviation, where RC? I know I can tell you for scale airplanes where I think it's going to go. For RC aviation, I think I have a feeling based on the youth of today that the proliferation of like airplanes that are ready to fly out of the box are just going to get more and more complicated, but ready to go. I mean, it's already pretty good right now, but um, I think they're just going to get more and more complex. I mean, right? Like you can buy like the free wing, F-22, like kind of like whatever you want, right? And as electric motors get bigger and more powerful and batteries get lighter, I mean, you're just going to be able to make those things bigger and bigger and more complex,
Yeah.
like more like scale aircraft. I mean, you're already kind of seeing that, right? But you're just going to get more and more systems on them that are just going to come ready to go out of the box.
I could see
So,
that. Now, as far as like, how do I want to put this? As far as like membership interest, where do you see that? Because I like in our area, it has the last 2 or 3 years have been significantly slow. Our member
mhm,
count has gone down. We usually sit around like 75 members.
mhm,
Um, right now, we're currently, I think we just broke into the low 60s. And this year, we actually have more new members than we've had in the last 6 years that I've been running the club. So I'm kind of hesitant to say that I feel like there's gonna be a little bit of a surge from people.
mhm.
And it seems to trend that way, but I'm kind of cautious because it's been slowing down for so many years, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be difficult to predict. I think my strategy is to promote RC aviation again as like like a fun stress relief hobby, um, something maybe that I feel like the gamers that are getting into it, they're just getting into different things like FPV and again, those ready to fly models make it a lot more accessible, especially with it's a lot easier to fly on something that has a gyro in it, nowadays. Um, but I think if they keep promoting it that way, I think too you might be seeing a slight uptick at if you I promote the fact that we have that certified. I call it, I just tell them it's a certified FAA site, right? Because then there's no worries from somebody like, hey, if I go try to fly this in a park, I kind of know there's regulations out there, but I don't, right? So
Right.
how do I be safe? Joining a club means that you can be safe. You also don't need that transponder, right? Because that is required. Now, whether or not somebody actually follows the rules is a different thing. But I mean, technically, if you fly outside of one of those flying sites, you should have a transponder on your plane, which just adds more cost.
We
So,
promote ours about the same way, so that could be the reason we see the uptick as well.
so Aaron, what do you think if we're kind of along those subject here? What do you think we're going to see in 10 years in the RC heli world? What do you think the newest thing would be or something?
Helis, honestly, I don't see much changing as much as they've changed in planes. Um, Reason I say that is, I mean, I worked at the hobby shop with you for 8 9 years. In that whole time, I saw the evolution of people wanting to stop building. That we almost at one point stopped stocking balsa wood. Everyone moved to like the park flyers. Horizon Hobby has their huge line, which is amazing because you could get something ready to fly for 300 or 400 bucks. Um, the helicopter world is a little bit different as far as like if we're talking big stuff, big like production 600 700 size machines. I really like don't see much changing, and I mean that in I can have my T-Rex 600, and at a quick glance, that's an old DFC. And I realize this is at a quick glance, but you can set it next to a newer, oh my god, like a newer XL Power. And just at a quick glance, they're both fly barless. They both look the same. Um, you know, I can make it go out and have it do similar things. Now, granted, the new one might be better. But I really don't think like mechanically anything's changed on helicopters as far as things are different, but I wouldn't say they're better because there's some old machines that I would hold, exactly par to a newer machine today. I think just electronically, we're going to see a lot more assists. So kind of what we saw Horizon Hobby doing with like the Blade line, where they have beginner, intermediate, and advanced mode. That started with a lot of the quadcopters. Now it's moving to a lot of the planes, a lot of the helicopters built into like their fly barless system. And I think that's certainly helping the hobby. Um, but I've also seen for the long term guys that can hurt them as well. So I think we're just going to see a newer type of flying style. I think
Hmm.
especially with guys using the assists, and you're going to see a lot of guys not getting off of it, which is what we've seen.
Yeah.
And it just breeds a little bit different of like a mentality. We kind of went into it with the mind state of we're going to crash, we're going to mess things up, we're going to break it. That's a part of it. And even my last couple of years at the hobby shop, with all the adding of the assists and adding everything, it brought in a different breed or different mindset of guys where they're only going to fly in beginner mode because they're so scared to crash it and they can't wreck this. They're terrified of dumping it in, and it's just breeding a different type of flying, I think, which is okay. Uh, just gonna evolve in a different way.
Yeah.
But mechanically for helicopters, I'll stand on that. Not much has changed. I can make that T-Rex 600 DFC do things your XL Power can do. Maybe not as good, but it'll do it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think you'll see a lot more of that safe type stuff for the assist type stuff. I think you're pretty much spot on with that one. I'm
Yeah,
impressed. That
we
was a good
actually have a
answer.
guy who he used to fly helicopters, and I don't know, I can't remember if his vision went bad or something happened where he wasn't comfortable flying them anymore. Well, he found these GPS helicopters that have like a GPS hold mode, and he's been taking those out there. They have like a horizon mode where it only banks so far, and he cruises them around the field. He has a ball with them, like flies them all day. If he gets in trouble or if he can't see it, he just lets go to sticks, and it goes into a GPS locked hover and just sits there
That's those
until he can
ones.
figure out what's
Isn't
going on.
aren't that those ones that Buddy RC's been selling? I think they have a
I
couple
think
models like that.
I want to say they're like Flywing or something like that.
Yeah.
They're all scale stuff, is what he
Yep.
has. I'm not sure who's making them, but
Yeah, I think Buddy RC's been selling them because I did see some of that because I think Kyle Spielis, his wife, was flying one of those out at Urcha a little bit too, and that was kind of as a new pilot, it got her into flying. So
I
okay.
could see
I
that taking off. Something like doing like those assists where you let off and it
yeah,
auto locks. Doing something like
Right.
that, and maybe the future move into like some sort of FPV system with helicopters. I
Well,
think people are
even
going to experiment more with that.
that'd make you
yeah,
puke.
even like going further, that you could have a pyro flip button. You know what I mean, where it just sits there and does pyro flips. I could see that coming down the line. I don't
Yeah,
know how popular it would be, but I could definitely see, because like Aaron was saying, the actual mechanics of the helicopter, there's not much room to grow, and I think that's why so many brands get blamed of being clones, is because there's only so many things like you can make a certain way,
yeah, you're right.
and now it's like a battle of geometry. Like if you make the arms to the links a 1-to-1 ratio, does it do this or that? And so I could see once they kind of find the perfect geometry and it doesn't really have anywhere to go, I could definitely see them going into, well, now you got a Kyle Dahl button. You flip the switch and
Yeah,
it does his whole flight or whatever.
it does his competition routine for you.
Right.
Well, Zach, do you have anything that you wanted to go over or talk about at all that we missed or forgot to ask you, or something that you're just itching to let us know?
I don't think so. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I think I think getting people into RC is important. We kind of talked a little bit about that, but I mean, whatever. I'm always trying to get people into aviation in general at Reading Regional Airport. I mean, we're very career focused, trying to build business and and jobs around the airport. So RC is just a great way, I think, to get kids involved at a young age. Whether or not people are going to come out and keep enjoying the hobby, I mean, I hope so. But I appreciate you having me on and talking through things.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. I know you're pretty busy schedule, like as you've told us all the stuff that you do. Got a full plate, and then a wife and 2 kids, and a lot going on. So we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, for sure. We all do, but I appreciate it. Yes. Thank you.
I was
Alrighty,
sitting here
guys.
thinking, like, while we were going through this, I don't think I've ever heard another like RC model podcast that's gotten the perspective of like what Zach's situation is, like, running an airport, or kind of the other side of the fence from what we've been battling for the last few years.
Yeah.
So I think it was really, really cool to be able to get you on here to talk it out.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, and hey, I'm open to collaborations. So if you want to come see us during the aviation, so we have a Reading Aviation Expo now in the fall every year. We do set up an RC flying sim. I set up Real Flight for like the kids to play, and we do mini drone racing. I bought those from you, Bob. Those are those little
the little inductrix.
Yeah. Yep. And we set up a little batting cage, and we have people race them they probably race like it's like a drag race, right? But it's one at a time to keep it controlled, and we time them. So they have to take off and spot land it, and whoever does that faster wins.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
I
awesome.
had kids doing it. I had like high school kids doing it, and like I think the fastest was 2.3 seconds. Like it was
Wow.
like it's probably let's say 60 feet, right? Is this course that I set up, and these kids were doing it in like 2.3 seconds. It was crazy.
That's awesome. Just knocking it out.
Yeah, but little things like that, we're really trying to get people interested in drones and where they're going. And so, I appreciate you guys having me on, but I think anytime you want to explore those opportunities, maybe we can even do a podcast out at the Aviation Expo live or something like that.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like that'd be really neat.
Cool.
Something a little bit different. Nice. Yeah, we might have to make that happen. Cool.
Put it on your calendar. Next year, it is October 7th through the 10th.
Okay. Yep. I'll probably forget it, in 5 minutes from now, but you'll be around to remind me.
That's a long podcast. It's a 4-day podcast, Bob. You think we got enough material for that?
Well, I think maybe we pick a time and do it in there, maybe, Mike. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe you'll have to make the drive. You can drive out from Ohio, and, we can all be there present. And we can turn it into a video podcast.
The career fair part of it actually will probably be on the 9th, which is a Friday. But we're partnering with Aviation Council of Pennsylvania and Arium, which is a statewide aviation education initiative. And they might even be putting like a drone demo inside of one of the hangars as part of the deal. We just talked about it today, actually. So definitely something that might be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. Nice. Cool. Well, thanks, Zach. Like I said, we appreciate you being here. And we learned a lot on this episode. So hopefully you guys all stuck around to the end and learned a little bit between the flying, a little bit about Zach. If you have any questions, if there's something you want to know that we didn't cover, you can reach out to us, fullpackagerc@gmail.com. Send me that email. And I can, if I don't know the answer, I can get the answer from Zach. If there's something you'd like to explore further, or any other questions for him. But I guess on that note, we're going to wrap things up here. And as always, thank the normal crew for being here. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you being here with me tonight.
Always a good time with you, Bob.
We try. Aaron?
Wouldn't have it any other way.
And you didn't do any fart noises tonight. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I tried to keep it professional. We had a professional person on as a guest, so.
Aaron, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. You had some really good questions.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me as usual.
And Zach, thank you for taking time. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Don't forget to visit bonfire.com/store package-rc. I think I said that right. Check the show notes. Weather's getting cold.
You gotta clean that link up.
Cop yourself a hoodie and get some good show merch. All right. We'll see you in the next show, guys. Thanks for oh, and don't forget, obviously, if you're listening, you can see it on everywhere. Podbean, Spotify, and Apple, finally. We're on all of them. All right, guys. Thanks. We'll see you.
See ya.